Hey, what's going on guys? It's FPL Yusuf and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it has been a while, but finally I am back. As you guys can see from my surroundings, it is a little bit of a different setting for me today. I'm currently away on holiday, but I just wanted to try and get a video out because as I said, it has been sort of nearly 3 weeks since I last made a video. I think the last time was game week 29. So I thought, what better way to preview the upcoming game week 32, than with a transfer target video for you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get into this video. So as you guys can see on screen, I'm going to put a list of transfer targets which maybe we should be looking at this week. I'm going to categorize them based on like fixtures they've got coming up for this current week, but also for the doubles which are in 34, 35, and for the ones in 37. So to start off with, let's start with the Man City assets, and the two big ones is Haaland and Foden. Now both of them have had a very contrasting game week 31. I think a lot of people are still invested in Haaland. I myself am not. I am not currently owning him, and I'm starting to wonder whether I should just wait another week until they play Luton in 33. Man City have got Crystal Palace away this week, and obviously Haaland started on the bench last week. Now, I don't envisage him starting on the bench again for a second week in a row. I think he will be back into the starting lineup. Crystal Palace away, Selhurst Park could be a difficult place to go. We all know that as football fans. I think Haaland hasn't really been at it since, at least not to the levels we expect of him, since probably Christmas time. So I think this could be a good game for him to get back on the score sheet, and I'm desperately trying to find a way to get him back into my team, but it's looking a bit problematic just solely because of how expensive he is, and like the caliber of strikers I've got now. I think Tony's my max, which is about 8.1, 8.2, so there's a big difference there. Foden, on the other hand, had a very, very good game week 31, and to anyone out there who actually kept a hold of him, fair play to you. You deserve all the points that you got from it. He obviously come off the back with a hat-trick against Aston Villa. I saw a few people sort of tossing and turning last night on Twitter about whether he would be rotated this game against Crystal Palace. Obviously, Arsenal did the same thing with Bukayo Saka, who we will get onto in a little bit, against Luton. With Man City having a big Champions League game coming up with Real Madrid soon, it does beg the question, is will Pep be rotating? And is that why Haaland got rotated last week? For me, I think Foden is young enough. He's got the legs, he's got the energy. I think he'll be fine in terms of like playing the game time. I don't think that'll be a question for him. And with just how good he's been this season, I think he's almost integral to that Man City. Like, I put him up there with the likes of Haaland. Like, I didn't at the start of the season thought that Haaland would have this point where maybe he's been dropped for a game or rested or whatever, because he's just that integral to the team, especially with the Premier League title race being as close as it is. And I think Foden is in that position now where he is kind of almost undroppable unless you're going to rest him. Like, performance-wise, especially when he plays in that central role, he's absolutely incredible. So with regards to Haaland and Foden in particular with Manchester City, I think both of them are a bring-in if you haven't got them. If you have got them, I think just hold. I know game week 34 is coming up, and obviously City don't double till 37, so there's an argument, do you lose them for other assets who do double? For me right now, I think they're a hold. Crystal Palace away is a good fixture for them, and yeah, for me, I wouldn't be getting rid of them anytime soon. Next up, as I mentioned just previously, is Bukayo Saka from Arsenal. Now, he obviously did get rested on the weekend against Luton, which I think, as an Arsenal fan myself, and I think a lot of people could probably realise, is that was definitely going to happen soon. Obviously, we play Bayern Munich next week, so we got Brighton this weekend, then we play Bayern Munich in the week, then there's another game on the weekend, and then the following midweek it'll be Bayern Munich again. So Arsenal got a lot of games coming thick and fast, and Luton, out of this next sort of 4 or 5 games, was probably the easiest one on paper that Arsenal could get through without him, and you know, it proved to be right. Arsenal picked up the 2-0 win. I do expect Saka to be back for the Brighton game. I saw Arteta's press conference today where he said it's sort of touch and go, and he might be there. For me personally, I think he had his rest, and I think he will be back into the starting lineup. So if you've got him, definitely hold him. Obviously, Arsenal do double in 34, which gives you more added incentive to keep a hold of him. If you haven't got Bukayo Saka, there is a question mark about whether Odegaard is a viable option. Is Havertz a viable option? For me, Bukayo Saka will still be that main one. I know he is the most expensive, but he is on penalties, and I think he's so integral to how Arsenal attack sometimes. And I think, you know, you could definitely look at like the likes of Martinelli, Havertz playing well in that number 9 role. Odegaard obviously chipped over a goal against Luton, but I think for me personally, Odegaard at just 0.5 million under. There is an argument that you could have both of them, but I think Saka for me is just head and shoulders clear for Arsenal. I think a lot of people are starting to double up on Arsenal defensively and just have the one midfielder. If you do want to go rogue and do something completely different, then yeah, you could double up with 2 of them. But I think for now, I think Bukayo Saka is enough for Arsenal just to have one midfielder in there, and I do expect him to be starting on the weekend against Brighton. And finally, the Liverpool assets. What do we do with the Liverpool assets? Now, this week was the week just gone, 31, was incredibly frustrating for a lot of us. I think a lot of people would have had Mohamed Salah captain, myself included, for the fact that he got pulled off in the 59th minute, didn't even make it to the 60, which would have banked him the clean sheet at that point. I know that they went on to concede, but it's really annoying, and Klopp's done it a few times now. He did it against Liverpool in the FA Cup a few weeks back, and it's just really frustrating to see, because every time Salah comes off, Liverpool seem to have this little wobble. Like, Salah came off within 5 minutes, Sheffield United of all teams, no disrespect to any Sheffield fans, but had gone and got a goal back. So what do we do with Liverpool assets? I think for me personally, you just hold them. I think everyone will have Salah. More often than not, somewhat people would have a Liverpool defender. Myself, I have Van Dijk. I think a lot of people invested in Conor Bradley. I think you'll be fine if you've got Conor Bradley, just for the record. I think you're fine for this coming week. I think from next week you might want to start to look at that, because Trent is possibly back, and that is the same for Kelleher owners as well. Alisson will be back in training from, I think, next week, Klopp said in his press conference today. So just some food for thought for that. As to other Liverpool assets, I think Darwin and Luis Diaz are the two standouts. I don't see anyone changing that front three, even though Cody Gakpo did come on and actually did get himself a goal against Sheffield. I just don't see him starting. I think that is what his role is for the time being. Liverpool is an impact sub. Now, Alexis McAllister is an interesting one, because he is someone who is priced very cheaply at 5.9 million. So he's a very good budget enabler. But what he also brings is, if Salah's not on the pitch, he will be on penalties, and he's very good from the spot as well. He plays 90 minutes. So I think there's a question to be asked. Is a third Liverpool asset in Alexis McAllister a good option? I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. I think Darwin, for me, up front, obviously got his goal. Darwin's one of those players who always has potential. I think it just depends on whether or not you like that type of asset, where you might get a big return, you might not. But yeah, for me, as far as the Liverpool assets go, Van Dijk and Salah, head and shoulders clear. The third one, which I do think you should triple up on, is because Liverpool do have a double in 34. And yeah, I just think it's either one of Diaz or Darwin, if not both of them, with McAllister as an outside shout. Right, so there's our transfer targets done. Now we're going to move on to differentials of the week. Okay, so differentials of the week. Let's start off with number one, and this is the one that I'm looking forward to seeing the most, or at least the most explosive, and that is Brennan Johnson from Spurs. Now, he has actually seemed to have got this starting spot on the right-hand side, so almost locked down at the moment. He's obviously scored in back-to-back games for Spurs. Kulusevski, who hasn't been that great for them recently, has been dropped. I think Brennan Johnson just gives Spurs something different. He just brings that sort of electric pace about him. Now, he's currently only 1.1% owned, so he's very low on ownership. Like I always say with these differentials, though, they are solely for this week. Obviously, Spurs fixtures do change after this game week, but the reason why I've got Brennan Johnson is, one, because his ownership is so low, but two, he's actually playing against his former club, Nottingham Forest, and they are at home this week. Now, I think Brennan Johnson is somebody who could definitely exploit this Nottingham Forest defence. As good as they are going forward, and as bad as Spurs are defensively, I think that this game could have goals in it. And I think Brennan Johnson's pace could be sort of vital to how Spurs are going to attack. Like I said, he's obviously got back-to-back goals in back-to-back games for Spurs. And I think he's just looking like almost an integral part of the way they play. And I just don't see him being dropped anytime soon. So yeah, for me, Brennan Johnson first up on the list at number one, 1.1% owned. Nottingham Forest at home against his former club. He's got to be in with a shout this week. Now, the second player that actually really did surprise me on percentage of ownerships is Mohamed Kudus, who's only owned by 4.4%. He's currently coming in at 6.8 million, and West Ham are going away to Wolves, but they're going away to a Wolves side that don't look like they've got clean sheets in them at the moment. I have owned, now if you've been following my channel for a while now, at least for like sort of the last, I'd say maybe like 6-7 weeks, me personally at the start of the season, I owned Jose Sarr for a good, I think it must have been about 10 to 12 weeks over the course of the season, and I cannot even begin to tell you how infuriating Wolves are. So believe me when I tell you, Wolves are not a team that's going to keep clean sheets. Trust me on that. Having owned a goalkeeper from them for a large part of the season, I can tell you right now that they are incredibly infuriating. And West Ham do have the ability to score sort of 2, 3, 4 goals against teams when they're at it. You know, when Paqueta, Bowen and Kudus are all together, they do look very good going forward. Now, Jared Bowen obviously is way owned above the 7.5% threshold, so that kind of takes him out the equation. The reason why I've gone for Kudus over Paqueta is solely because I think Kudus has that explosive ability. Paqueta ticks over nicely. You know, as I say with Jose Sarr, I actually did own Paqueta for a while, and to be fair to me, I had him in the game that he got 3 assists, I believe it was. So he has got the ability to do it. I just think Kudus is probably on the more regular. And at 4.4% owned, I don't think you can go wrong. And I think he's actually a very, very good differential, reasonably priced as well. So yeah, Mohamed Kudus is coming in at number 2. And the final differential is a defender, and it's somebody that I've actually brought in this week, and that is Manuel Akanji from Man City. Now, they are obviously going away to Crystal Palace. Akanji is currently only owned by 4.9%, which doesn't surprise me as such, because City defensively seem to chop and change a lot. Now, Ake and Walker have both been ruled out, so that's the right side and the left side both ruled out for Man City this week. Now, left side probably will be covered by Gvardiol. Stones is back, so it could cover the right, which means Akanji would be with Rodri in front of Ruben Diaz, which is kind of how I'd imagine them to start. But Akanji has the ability to play right and left, so he's got, and he plays DM alongside Rodri, so he's got the most positions on the pitch that he can sort of squeeze himself into. So I think he's a very reliable player, and he does have this certain goal threat sometimes from corners and set pieces. So obviously, if De Bruyne is back, that helps Akanji's case even more, because he's going to be putting him on a plate. But Pep did say that he wasn't even sure whether De Bruyne and Haaland, whether both of them would start. So that is something which could be cause for concern. But with Akanji, we're looking at the clean sheet potential here. Elise has just come back from injury. I don't think he'll play a part in this game, and if he does, it will be off the bench. So Crystal Palace are kind of hoping on Eze to feed Mateta, which, you know, Man City should have the dominant possession of the game. They should control the ball, and I do expect them to keep a clean sheet in this one. I know Man City haven't been the most reliable teams for clean sheets, but I do expect them to keep one against Crystal Palace in this game. So Manuel Akanji is my third, coming in at 4.9% owned with Crystal Palace away, and like I said, I have brought him into my team too. Okay, so as you guys can see on screen, this is the team that I'm lining up with for game week 32. As I said, I've only made one transfer this week so far, which is just my free transfer, which is bringing in Manuel Akanji, who's going straight into my starting 11. Now, I will say before this that my team could possibly go from a -4 all the way up to a -12 this week. And I think something which I usually try and get ahead of is price ranges. However, this week, I think I'm going to wait right up until the deadline. Maddison is someone, as you can see by midfield, that I want gone. I want him gone. Son, I'm willing to keep for another week because I think he's just got more of a goal threat. But Maddison has been one of those players that has just been so infuriating to own. And I was going to get rid of him last week, and I didn't because it was for a -4, so I left it alone. And once again, it was just another 2.0, and he got pulled off after 70 minutes. So he is definitely, Maddison will definitely be going this week. It all depends on who I'm going to bring in. Now, Anthony Gordon is somebody that I want long term. Not the best fixture this week, obviously going away from home. Gordon usually has an impact when he's at St James's Park, so I'm in an RN about that. The one I'm waiting to find out on is Phil Foden, and I'm going to hope, Man City have the 12:30 kickoff, so hopefully we'll get team news on Manchester City before that, so fingers crossed I'll be able to make the change there. But I'm not sure what my Wi-Fi connection is going to be like. Obviously, as I said, I'm away on holiday, so I might have to just take a gamble and just go early on that. But yeah, Maddison is someone who's definitely going to be coming out of my team. Like I said, I was looking at trying to get Haaland back in, but again, that's going to result in me dropping Son down, and I don't know whether this week it's worth taking a minus to lose Son to bring Haaland back in, with Haaland not guaranteed a start, which I know sounds mental, but it is the truth at the moment. So, as I said, right now, my transfers, I've made one, which is Manuel Akanji has come straight in, who's gone straight into my starting lineup, as you guys can see on screen. But the other sort of maybe 2, 3 or 4 transfers, you know, I'm not ruling out -12, will probably be so dependent on tomorrow morning and on team news that comes through, which unfortunately you guys probably won't get to see from me because I'm going to try and upload this video tonight. But yeah, as you can see on screen, this is the rest of my team. I'm going to be starting with obviously the Arsenal defense, you know, Gabriel and David Raya. I think for me, like, they've just been double Arsenal defense every week for I don't even know how long now. The Arsenal just so good defensively, it just, you almost just have to have them in there. Van Dijk, Man United isn't a great fixture. Liverpool haven't really been looking at clean sheets, but I'd rather put him there than Anthony Robertson, even though Fulham are actually much better at home. I think Van Dijk for me is just gonna get that spot. And obviously, as I said, Akanji, my transfer that I bought in this week, he's there. Bukayo Saka's gonna be on the team sheet. Like I said, I know he's flagged currently on FPL, but I do expect him to start this game. Brighton are a team that usually keeps a lot of clean sheets, so I'm hopeful that Arsenal will get on the score sheet, and hopefully Bukayo Saka. Son, like I said, Nottingham Forest. This will probably be the last week I keep Son anyway, but the fixture was just too good kind of for me not to, even though he's been a little bit frustrating as well recently. I'm just going to keep a hold of him for now and just let him stay there. Cole Palmer, Sheffield United. Now this is a genuine captaincy shout, I think. I think Cole Palmer offers something which... He's in red hot form at the moment. Obviously, he's just come off the back of a hat-trick, and actually has just saved my game week as well. I had a lot of 2s across the board this week, but Cole Palmer coming in with that 20-point haul was just fantastic. And he's somebody that, you know, as you can see on screen now, he's currently is my captain. So I'm considering just leaving him there, to be honest with you, and just seeing what happens. You know, Sheffield United away, I'd like it much better if they were at home, but I think Cole Palmer just, especially because he has the penalties as well, he's just got such a high chance of returning points. I think he's just someone you have to keep there. Maddison, like I said, will not be there in my final team. It's not happening. So it will be either Foden or Anthony Gordon. I think Eze, I think it's just a bit too soon. He's got Man City and Liverpool coming up, so I kind of want to stay away from that. Salah kind of picks himself. Again, probably the other captaincy shout. And then Darwin and Tony up front. Now, Tony is one of those players that I don't want to own anymore. I want Isak. If you guys have been playing Fantasy Challenge, I've had Isak for both the weeks, and he has returned in both of them big time. I will do, by the way, just speaking off topic quickly on that, I'm going to be trying to bring more videos about Fantasy Challenge, which I'll probably start from next week now, but that is something that's going to come up. But like I said, Tony, I'm going to keep him for this last week because they have Sheffield and Luton after this, and I just don't see a point in getting rid of him now when I've kept him through the difficult ones, and Darwin Núñez as well coupled up with him. So yeah, like I said, captaincy will either be, I think, either Palmer or Salah. Could be Haaland or Foden if I manage to get around to bringing them in, but like I said, that will be a question for tomorrow morning before the deadline. We'll see if we get some early team news on that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please drop a thumbs up and subscribe down below. My apologies once again for being away for a little while. I will be back on my regular upload schedule from next week. But I just want to try and get this video up for you guys, just so that that you had something just before the GW32 deadline. And like I said, from next week I'm going to be trying to bring up at least one video a week solely on FPL Challenge as well. Just kind of going over what the game week is, what the actual rule set is for that particular week, and just see how it goes. Let me know in the comments down below how it's going for you. I think I'm about 26k in the world, which if I could switch my ranks for my main one, I would do it in a heartbeat. But you know what, we'll take it. We've had a good start to that, so hopefully we can continue that. But yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please drop it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.